Hello, my name is Safi. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my new reading vlog. Today is currently Monday afternoon and I've decided that right now is the right time to start a new vlog. I've just finished editing the one for last week and it turned out, I think, at least, much better than my very first one. Strangely enough, huh? And so I'm very excited to see what you think about it, see what you thought about it, because by the time you see this, that one will already have been out for a bit. But yeah, I'm just here to do a quick introduction today, because this is the week in which we are officially going to leave the old address, the old house. I am so excited to just give the keys to the new tenants and be done with it. I can't wait to be done with it. But there's still a few things to do before that happens, because we still have to finish emptying the last few things, which we are going to do today, actually, this evening, I guess. And then we'll have about 3 days to completely clean the house, to wash the whole thing and make it ready for the new people. So I can't wait to just be done with it, stop thinking about it. I don't want to think about that place anymore. My bookshelves upstairs are finally set up and in place. That went quicker than I expected, thanks to my partner, and I can't wait to show you. Though there is still some chaos, of course, but I still have to put my books properly on these shelves, so... And also, of course, now I have so much more shelf space than I'm used to, so there's a lot of empty space. I'm sure I'll fill it at some point, probably sooner than I expect, but I don't want to rush it. So right now there's only one shelf that's full, and it's the one that you've already seen. All the others just have a few books on them, but are mostly empty. There's not really much to see on the shelves, but just I'm going to be showing you how I've put them, because I'm so happy with them. I'm living my dream right now, truly. So it's gonna take a while before it actually starts looking good, but I'm confident that I will be purchasing more books to put on them very soon, and little by little fill them up. That's the update for now. Oh yeah, and also I've started reading Cannibals by Shinya Tanaka, translated by Kalo Almani. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but hopefully I am. But yeah, that's a little different than what I expected. So far, I'm not very far into it. I mean, it's not a very long book, but I've only read the first like 20 or so pages for now. And it's not about cannibals, I don't think. It is actually about domestic abuse. And it's really intense so far. I did not expect that. I thought it would be horror, but I mean, I guess the horror of it is what's going on. It's the abuse that's happening, which is, yeah, I was not expecting that. Maybe I should have looked into it before picking it up. Only thing I knew about it before picking it up was that its average rating on Goodreads is lower than a 3. It's like 2.9 or something. So I'm planning on continuing it, and hopefully this will at least be an interesting read. It's been a little bit weird so far, because I don't know if it's a translation issue or if it's like, if this is actually how it was written in the original and it's been translated as it should. I don't know, but there are some sentences here and there just that don't seem to make sense very much to me, or that are not grammatically correct. Like, while I was reading yesterday, there were a couple of sentences, like at some point one of the characters say more dirtier. And I'm like, are you sure? So I don't know if that's supposed to be like that because it's like that in the original or not. And then there's another point where a character says, hey, don't make like that. Don't make what? I'm a little confused, but hopefully it gets better. I don't know. It's a little weird so far, but I guess I'll update you as soon as I read more, because this morning, as I said, I've been editing all morning, so I haven't had time to read yet. And now I have about 45 minutes, maybe even an hour if I'm really lucky, in which I can read. And then I'll have to get ready to go to the old apartment to load some more stuff into the car to bring here and then start cleaning. So not looking forward to that. And I'll update you as soon as I've read some more or done something cool. See you then. Well, look who's there. That's Jonathan. If you don't know him, that's not our cat. That's the neighbor's cat. Like the cat of the people who were living here before us, who moved to a house nearby. And he kind of, I think he's a bit confused right now. He thinks this is still his house. It's not. And I wish I could let him in. He's such a cutie. I went outside earlier and cuddled him a little bit, and he's so cuddly. He just didn't want to leave me alone. But the problem is that we are currently building a lot of furniture, and we have like loose screws and other small metal things that I don't want him to go anywhere near that. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. So obviously, so I can't let him in, although he really wants to. Oh my God, look at him. He just really wants to come in. Go home, Jonathan. Go home. This is not your home. Jonathan. Oh my God, I feel so bad. I feel so bad. Hello vlog, it's the next day and ta-da! Here are my new bookshelves. I am in love with them. These are like my dream come true. As you can see, they are still very empty, and I'm gonna show you everything afterwards, but yeah, they're still very empty and I still have to kind of figure out where I want my things, but these make me so happy. I have no words to describe how much I wanted this. I just wanted to show you this, and as I said, I will show you everything after, because now I am actually here to do a little update, because I have finished Cannibals by Shinya Tanaka. I finished this yesterday. I did put a couple of tabs in it. And okay, so this is not an easy book. Yeah, I'll just put it there. Let's just put it here. Right there. This is not an easy book to talk about. It's got some really, really hard topics. This is a book about domestic abuse. And it's not really a horror novel or novella. It's about 80 pages. But it does still contain a lot of horror, if you get what I mean. The horror of domestic abuse and violence. I feel like it did a good job in portraying that and discussing the cycles of violence. It was an extremely atmospheric book. It was set around this riverside. It described everything, like through all the senses. It described the smell both of the sea and sewage. I appreciated that. I appreciate descriptions of smells no matter what they are, if they're good or bad. I love them. So that this book had a lot of descriptions of how things smelled and of not only the visuals of the place, but also the sound of the rain and the sound of a dog barking in the distance, or other mundane sounds of the city, like somebody chopping food, or yeah, that type of thing. And I always like that in books. As I said, it's a pretty difficult book to talk about because the subject matter is incredibly tough and very, very sensitive. So do look up trigger warnings before going into this if you're thinking about picking it up. But just so you know, the main theme of this book is domestic abuse. I ended up giving it 4 stars, which is a bit of an unpopular opinion because, as I've probably said before, this book has an average rating of 2.9 on Goodreads. People hate it. I guess I have a bit of a unpopular opinion here, but I actually thought it was incredibly well written, despite the fact that some sentences here and there didn't quite seem to make sense. I don't know if it's a translation issue. I think it might be. So I chose to kind of disregard that. It's not a full 5 stars because there were a few things that I did not appreciate. There were, like, the ending was extremely abrupt. I was like, is this how it ends? Did the author not know what to say to end this book? Because the ending felt like they just cut off a part of the book and just ended it like that. So, I mean, the story does reach a conclusion, but but the language doesn't, if you get what I mean. Like, the last sentence was just kind of like, did not feel like a final sentence. So it felt like the author wanted to say something else, but then just I forgot to continue the story. I don't know. Or didn't know how to end it. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, so that was a thing. And then there were, how to say this, throughout the story, there were a lot of mentions of the main character's Willie. Just out of nowhere. Like, he would just be going down the street, hearing a dog barking and thinking about his stick. Like, or he would be just at home and you would get like, and he grabbed his. Why? Why did that have to be there? It just was a bit like, I don't know. I did not appreciate that. But yeah, and it was kind of constant throughout the book. Like, everything just kind of circled around. Yeah, no, I'm gonna leave it there, but yeah. But apart from that, this book was pretty great, I think. Some people might find it offensive, so I can't recommend it. I do not recommend this book purely based on the Goodreads reviews, because most people seem to hate it. As I say, I have read other books that a lot of people seem to love, that felt to me like they were more problematic and offensive than this one. I mean, this one has even won some other important prize for literature. So, I don't know, I guess it's a bit on the edge. And it's up for you to decide whether you want to pick it up or not. But it wasn't a fun read, it wasn't an easy read. So yeah, it's a bit of a complicated book to speak about. Look at what other people are saying about it before you decide whether or not to read it, whether or not to buy it. That being said, let's leave that behind us. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put it there now. We're not looking at that anymore. And I'm gonna show you the bookshelves, I guess. All right, there we go. That's what they're looking like. As I said, there is a lot of clutter right now and they don't look great. Like over there, it's just empty. Here I've put some random books and some candles just to fill up the space. Then I got my horror, manga, and graphic novels on this shelf. Nothing on that. Then we got thrillers here. I don't read that many thrillers. I don't know if you can tell. I used to read a lot of mystery thrillers back in the days. I read so many in 2020 and then I just kind of grew tired of them. Here we have like here we have pink and red horror books plus like a couple of random ones that just ended up on this shelf because why not? Here we have, honestly, my favorite shelf probably. We have some of my favorite books and some of my favorite authors. And Stephen King. I mean, I love Stephen King, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him like a huge favorite. But, you know, I haven't read nearly enough of his books to say that for sure, but my favorites on this shelf are really these. So Shannon Maguire, Bret Easton Ellis, Mariana Enriquez, Maria Fernanda Ampuero, Agustina Basterica, and Ai Jiang. So these are some of my favorite books. Also, there is some random knackage on this shelf as well. So yeah, that's a deer antler that I found in the woods. And that's a little statue that I got in Florence, a random candle, an Aegis-Hjalmur that I personally actually burnt into the wood candle. Then here we have my Junji Ito shelf, which is also a favorite. Junji Ito is also one of my top 3 favorite authors, together with Mariana Enriquez, and I wouldn't know who else. I would have to think about it to choose my number 3, but yeah, probably Mariana Enriquez and Junji Ito are my 2 favorite authors at the moment, at least. If you ask me tomorrow, I might say some different authors, but anyways, I just wanted to show you my Junji Ito cup. I love it. Here we got just more horror books, honestly. These are a random collection of horror books. We got T. Kingfisher, who I love. We got Grady Hendrix and some other random ones. And here is my small extreme horror section. It's so small because I tend to read extreme horror on my Kindle because they are like impossible to find as physical books just out in the wild in bookstores. So I tend to read them on my Kindle first, and then if I really love them, I end up buying a physical copy. But yeah, so those are like my favorite extreme horror books of all time. Those 4 at the end there. So yeah, proceeding here, we have this shelf, which is just queer horror, I think. All of these books are queer, and I love them. I love them a lot. So here too, there are some old-time favorites. Like we got Eric LaRocca, we got We Used to Live Here, we got, oh, this book. This is one of my all-time favorite books. I love it to bits. That book made me cry, and I'm like heartless. So yeah, I love it so much. So yeah, and House of Hollow is also one of my all-time favorite books. That it was one of the first horror books that I've read, and probably my very first YA horror. I don't know. I might be saying some bullshit right here, but yeah. And lastly, down here, or not lastly, these are, well, yeah, the last horror books on my shelf are these, which are once again a collection of random horror books and a couple of special editions. Those there are pretty much just here because they are massive. So yeah, just some more cool horror books plus a couple of little Halloween decorations, which yeah, might be there just temporarily. I might have to move them later. But moving on, here in my corner I have nonfiction, which is on 2 shelves. I did not know, in fact, that I had quite so much nonfiction. I thought I would only fill like 1 small shelf, but I ended up filling 2, and I have more. Maybe I'll take out the cooking books, put them in the kitchen downstairs, because they're certainly more useful there. I'm not planning on reading any cookbooks right here. So yeah, but yeah, these are just my nonfiction books. Moving on to my tiny romance shelf. I don't know if you can tell, I'm not a huge romance reader, so yeah, these are my romance books. All 4 of them. And I've read 2 of them. Book Lovers and Red, White and Royal Blue are some of my all-time favorite romance books. So I've gotten rid of pretty much all of the other ones I had that weren't favorites, because why would I keep them, right? I still have to read The Pairing and the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which I'm planning on reading very soon. Well, The Pairing, I don't know, it's a bit too summary right now, so I don't know, maybe I'll read that later on in the year, in winter, because why not? Here are some classics, some spooky classics, gothic, yeah, just cool. Poe is also one of my favorite authors. Maybe he would take spot number 3. Yeah, I think he would. Then here we have more classics. Yeah, not much to say about that. I'm planning on reading a couple of these soon. Hopefully I actually will. I always have very good intentions when it comes to classics, but never actually end up reading them. And up there, some more classics. So yeah, here I have my 2 shelves of classics and poetry. Over there are my poetry books. Here is my litfic books. It's messy, please don't judge me, but yeah. Here too are some of my all-time favorites, mostly because I've gotten rid of the ones I didn't like. But yeah, Jon Kalman Stephenson is one of my favorite authors. He is an Icelandic author. Here I have his books. I have a couple of them in Italian and one of them in Norwegian. He is a Litvic author, very, very atmospheric, very, very sad. But also, The Secret History. I adore that book. As soon as I finished reading it, I was like, yep, this is a new favorite. I read that a couple of years ago now, and I still think about it. Not every day maybe, but very often. Also, yeah, here are some more. I loved The Center. I read that this year. Then here it's empty. Here I only have this one Stephen King book, which is a library book that I have to give back and I keep forgetting about it. Here we have some notebooks and some stuff that just don't ask me about it. And here I have my tarot decks because yeah, I love reading tarot and I have a lot of decks. And also there's, yeah, that's a Duskull. I love Pokemon as well. And he is guarding over my tarot decks. If there is any deck that looks interesting to you, just ask me about it in the comments and I'll tell you what it's called. But this one is my favorite. That's the Anima Mundi Tarot. It's some of the best artwork I've ever laid eyes upon. That's all for today. I might update you later, I guess. And yeah, here are my bookshelves. Hello vlog, it's Wednesday morning and I'm here as always to give you a little update. Yesterday I actually ended up starting Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and I might or might not have read like 260 pages in one day. Because I'm currently reading this physically and listening to the audiobook at the same time. Yeah, I'm about to start chapter 13. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I did not know what to expect. For some reason, I thought this would be YA or even middle grade, but apparently it's an adult novel. Also, this version is also illustrated. It does read a bit like a young adult novel, I think, except for there are details that make it adult, like certain topics or whatever that make it feel like an adult novel, though the writing style does feel a little bit YA to me. I don't know if it's the humor, but in any case, I'm still really enjoying this. I don't really mind that it feels like it's meant for a bit of a younger audience in the end. But this book, if you didn't know, is about this man, Richard, who one day, while he is already late for this dinner with his fiance and his fiance's boss, I think it is. But on the road to the restaurant where they're supposed to meet, he stops to help a girl that is laying down on the road, on the street, and she's bleeding and she's obviously hurt. So he stops to help her, and his fiance is like, if you don't come right this moment with me and leave her be, our engagement is off. But since he's a good guy, he stops to help the bleeding girl. And so the engagement is obviously called off. And there's also another consequence to this on top of the engagement, is that he goes from being somebody living in the London above, like normal everyday people, to someone of like belonging, I guess, to London below, which is this type of like magical, bizarre, whimsical, fairy tale-esque other London. A bit like the Upside Down from Stranger Things, but not as creepy, though there are still very creepy things in this London below. and it's extremely dangerous. There's these assassins that are trying to kill this girl that he helped, whose name is Dor, by the way. She kind of has to go on a quest to find certain things, to find out who killed her family and who is after her and why. And yeah, there's a bunch of mysteries to solve, and there's a quest, and Richard reluctantly goes along on this quest, and it's extremely whimsical, extremely just fun as well. It reminds me a bit of Alice in Wonderland, but it also is reminding me a bit of Every Heart a Doorway, because it has that type of whimsy, that type of like everything is all over the place and there is no sense to any of it, and there's no point in looking for a meaning, and you just kind of have to accept that the world is like that. I'm planning on finishing this today, if possible. I just got in my hold for the audiobook of Starvaker, so I might read that after. The illustrations are also really cool. Like, let me just show you a couple. Like, there's this one, for example, here at chapter 13. There are sometimes some pages that are like this, illustrated like this. And this is Richard. That's the reading update for now. Last thing I wanted to talk about is what we've been watching, because we've started series on Netflix called From. It's like sci-fi horror series. We've only watched the first 2 episodes so far because we haven't had very much time for anything else, but I don't know how I feel about it quite yet. It's a kind of creature feature, I guess, type series that I might not be entirely into, but it's entertaining. It does its job. And then this weekend, we're going to go to the cinema to watch The Substance, the new horror beauty industry horror film with Demi Moore. So I can't wait. I am so looking forward to it. But yeah, that will be this weekend. I think that's all for now. And I guess I'll see you either later or tomorrow. Hello vlog, it's the same day. Can you believe it? Just a few hours later. And I wanted to update you about the fact that I've finished Neverwhere, and I ended up really enjoying this. This was a nice surprise of a book. So right after I updated you, there were even some really cool twists that I hadn't seen coming. I had a great time with it. It was such an epic adventure. I hadn't read a book like that in a very long time. It reminded me that I actually really like adventure books that are a bit whimsical. That's probably why I love Every Heart a Doorway so much. It reminded me a lot of that. And it reminded me, as I said, of Alice in Wonderland and a lot of the sort of middle grade, in a way, fantasy that I used to read as a child, which, yeah, very melancholic vibes, like the Spiderwick Chronicles. It reminded me a bit of that too, but in an urban setting rather than an outdoors woodland setting. Anyways, I've started Starbaker right after. This is a bit of a grief horror type novel. This book has been so atmospheric. It just makes me want to go into a forest. It's about this couple, Richard and Juliet, whose son, Ewan, has died suddenly at the age of 5. And Starvaker, their house by the moors, was to be full of life, but is now a haunted place. Juliet, convinced Ewan still lives there in some form, seeks the help of the Beacons, a seemingly benevolent group of occultists. Richard try to keep the boy out of his mind, has turned his attention to the field opposite the house, where he patiently digs the barren dirt in search of a legendary oak tree. So yeah, this has been very interesting so far. As I said, it's very atmospheric. I've been reading it outside in the garden and it's been great. So I can't wait to continue. It's very short, like I've been reading for an hour and I'm already there. It's been really haunting so far. Like the atmosphere is really melancholic, really, it feels like really fall-ish, although this is set more in the winter as far as I've understood, because there's snow and ice and stuff. So I don't think I have anything else to say for now, so I'll see you for the next update at some point. Hello vlog, it's currently Thursday afternoon. I've just come back from the gym and I've showered, obviously. I wouldn't want to show you how I look right after I've been at the gym, but I was at work this morning and a couple of books that I had ordered arrived. So I just thought I would show you what I got. And let's see, the first one is this, Deadly Animals by Marie Tierney. And this is actually like a thriller. Me buying a thriller, that's a bit unusual, but this one just sounded so good. I have actually not seen anyone here on BookTube talk about this. I have not heard of it on Instagram. I have not seen it on BookTube. I have no idea why. I found this on some recommendations on Goodreads because it's apparently pretty new. But anyways, this is like a thriller novel, like a mystery thriller about a girl who has a 13-year-old girl, so I think maybe it's actually YA, that has a fascination for the intricate process of animal decomposition, studying roadkill found in the streets around her home. But on one night, Ava, the 13-year-old girl, Ava's secret nocturnal routine takes a chilling turn when she stumbles upon the lifeless body of a fellow schoolmate. I only picked this up because of the animal decomposition thing. I am extremely fascinated by decomposition and decay in general. So I saw that and I thought, I want to read that. Plus, I don't read that many thrillers, but I do want to try some more this fall. It's almost 400 pages. So, I don't know, this might get read in a while. I don't have any plans to read it in September because I just don't think I have time for that. But I do want to get to it as soon as possible. I just don't love this cover. I think the American cover, I think it's the American one, is just so much better than this. But yeah, this was the only one that was available, unfortunately. No, wait, there was actually a third cover available, but it was even worse than this one. So yeah, but I guess hopefully the book is good, you know. And then the other book that I got is Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix. And well, I'm just so fascinated by this type of book, like these big recommendation books. I have, let's see, I have this one on my shelf and I loved it. I loved this book so much when I read it. I first read a copy from the library and I liked it so much that I got my own copy. So then I thought, well then, I might just as well also get this one, since they are like a very similar concept, you know. But Paperbacks from Hell is basically like also a horror recommendation book, but with books from the 70s and 80s. And also it contains some history and some facts and loads of cool pictures, and I can't wait. to read this and just get some recommendations. And the thing I was thinking about doing, actually, which I will talk more about it in my reading plans probably for October, but one of the reasons actually why I started this channel was to do a series of videos in which I read recommendations from this book. So maybe I should do it for both of them. This book is divided in categories and subgenres of horror. And I was thinking of just doing a pretty long series actually, because it's a lot of recommendations in which I take a couple of books from each category, plus maybe one or two of my own choosing, and I just read them for a themed vlog. Let me know if that sounds interesting. So like, for example, cosmic horror, right? So I will take a couple of recommendations from this. I don't know, maybe The Worm and His Kings by Hailey Piper and A Lush and Seething Hell by John Horner Jacobs. And then I'll just find another that's sitting on one of my shelves and read that as well and like compare them and see if these recommendations are something that aligns with my taste or not. So I was thinking of doing maybe something of the sort also with this at some point. It just looks so interesting. I just want to read it right now. And also, since reading, what was it, Rosemary's Baby earlier this year, like in August, since reading Rosemary's Baby, I've just gotten into like a bit of a kick with older horror books, and I would love to read some more. That's what I got today, and that's the whole update because I haven't had time to read anything else yet. Yeah, I'll just be continuing Starvaker, I think. So I'll just come back to you when I have more updates. Hello vlog, it's Friday morning. I'm here to also show you a couple of things, a couple of fall Halloween themed things that I got the other day and that I just forgot to show you. I got this skeleton hand, which currently resides on my windowsill, but I think I might have to find a better place for it. But I just thought it would be a cool decoration for Halloween. Then I got this little candle holder with pumpkins, and there's a candle in it. I'm going to light it later and see how it looks. I think it will be very cute. And I mean, I love pumpkins. You put pumpkins on something, I probably will buy it. Yeah, I couldn't resist buying this spider web that lights up. I couldn't resist it, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just choose one thing, right? I'll just choose one thing on top of the other two things that were just kind of affordable. I'll just pick one thing that I want that is a bit more unreasonable, and that's it. Lastly, my CBR has been waylaid by Grady Hendrix because yesterday evening I started Paperbacks from Hell. I wasn't, like, my intention when I brought it downstairs and sat on the sofa with this was just to look through it, right? Just to look at some of the very cool pictures in here. And I ended up reading that much. I'm at page 105 and I didn't want to put this down. I was sitting on my sofa reading this just like I would read a normal book. This is a non-fiction. It's actually like pretty much like a history book. I thought it would be recommendations, a bit like the one that I showed you in the clip yesterday, the 101 horror books to read before you're murdered by Sadie Hartman. I thought it would be a bit like that with different categories and recommendations for each, but no, actually it's pretty much a history book. It just goes through various subgenres of horror that were present in the 70s and 80s, and just telling you about them and telling you the plots of the most ridiculous books. I was laughing. I was laughing out loud, reading some certain passages to my partner yesterday, and we were both laughing, like actually laughing. And books don't make me laugh very often, at least not out loud, right? But just some of the passages from this were so funny. I am loving this so much. And look, I'm not very much into history books or reading about history at all, but this is so interesting. This is actually written in such a compelling way. It's almost like reading a novel, and I want to continue reading this, although it wasn't on my TBR to begin with. But I can't put this down. I was sitting on the sofa, as I was saying, and suddenly it was like midnight, and I wasn't ready to go to sleep. I just wanted to keep reading. But yeah, I had to eventually put this down and go to sleep. I think I'm just going to read this and then continue Starvaker, because yeah, I'm enjoying Starvaker as well. As I said, it's a very atmospheric read, and it would be perfect to read right now actually, because it's very foggy outside this morning. But I just want to continue this. I just can't help it. I need to keep reading this book. I just started the section on haunted houses, and like some of these just I need to know what that's about. Like some of these covers are just something else. There were a couple that I saw yesterday, because yesterday I read I mean yesterday I read the part about, what was it? Creepy children, animals, plants. Look at that. Just what the a horror novel about crabs that sacrifice people. I mean, isn't that the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen? I kind of want to read that. And some of these covers are so cool. Like, look at that slime cover. Just like, hello, that's so cool. I wish they did covers like this today as well. Like, look at those. Like, this is a killer bunny. Like, that's just so cool. Oh no, I have to show you this one. What's going on? Like, excuse me, what? What were they thinking? What were they thinking with that one? And there are some covers that are actually so pretty. But, I mean, like, look how creepy this one is. Like, isn't that some of the most creepy stuff that you've ever seen? Like, that looks terrifying. I am terrified just looking at it. We've got another one. Mama's Little Girl. And that, like, I read the plot of this because Grady goes into the plot of this book. It's just so ridiculous. Well, if I find any more going on that I want to show you, I guess I will. But for now, that is all the updates I was planning on giving you. I'll probably see you tomorrow, because I don't think I'll have time to update you again today. We'll see. Hello vlog, it's Sunday evening and I'm here to end this vlog actually. I'm here to end the video and I just wanted to give you a couple of last updates before we move on to starting next week's vlog. So today is the autumn equinox, it's the 22nd, and I like to do a couple of special things on the equinoxes and solstices. I like to follow the wheel of the year and do something special for each change of season and each occasion. So today I made some sweet pumpkin bread, which you might have seen in some b-roll before this, and it was delicious. It was like heaven. And I had it together with a tea that's called Enchanted Forest. There isn't actually any Enchanted Forest in the tea, but it's like this herbal infusion with berries, and it was perfect. And then I'm going to do a little tarot spread because I love to read tarot for myself. I don't know if you could tell from all of the decks that I have. Gonna use a couple of them and do a little spread, so that's going to be really nice. And I just sat outside and played a bit with the neighbor's cats and I read a bit of Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix and had a generally great time. Me and my partner grilled a couple of burgers outside and it was perfect. It was also, today's also supposed to be like the last sunny, warm day of the year, probably. So we thought, let's just do it, even if we didn't have all of the ingredients we needed. We just went for it, and it was great. We had like a little picnic type thing outside, because we didn't have a table for outside yet. So we just put a tablecloth in the garden basically and just ate there. That's how I spent my day. I have unfortunately not finished any more books. I am really close to finishing Paperbacks from Hell, but I haven't finished it yet. I'm gonna try to finish it today if I can. I really have like maybe 50 pages left and there's loads of pictures in the book, so it might be that I'm able to finish it today, but I don't know. I don't know yet. So I think that's all I needed to tell you before I let you go. And just to recap what I read this week. Let's see, this week I think I only read 2 full-length books. And it could be better. I read Cannibals, which, I mean, calling Cannibals a full-length novel, it's more like a novella. But then I read Neverwhere, which is actually pretty thick. And then I'm in the middle of like 3 different books. So yeah, not the best. I keep looking outside because there's a cat and it's really cute. Hopefully I'll finish some more books next week and I can talk about more relating to books. So yeah, if you've made it so far in the vlog, well, first of all, I appreciate you, and leave me a like, maybe a comment. I would be very happy if you did that, and tell me, how did you spend the autumn equinox? If you've read any cool books, or if you've had a delicious tea or cake or whatever you did, just, yeah, I'm curious, let me know. And if you didn't do anything special, then just tell me a bit about the book you're reading. Because, as always, I would love to know what books y'all are reading. So, yeah, I'll let you go now, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!